Hi, it's Jane. Welcome to my life. Things are crazy. Oh my goodness. You know, I'd got the new battery in the car, right? And last night I was driving home and got a, the message that comes up, it says fault engine, service now or something like that. So you hit the OK, and I got home and I thought, what's going on? The battery's new. I just had it checked and everything was fine. So I went on this, rabbit trail looking, seeing if I could figure out what it was. And apparently when you put a new battery in Ford, you have to reset something in the car electronics. And the way you do that is you basically turn the key like you're going to turn the ignition on, but you don't turn it all the way to where it starts up. And then you flash the brights, I think 5 times or 4 times. Then you tap on the brake 3 times, and that resets it so it knows you have a new battery. Otherwise, the alternator will overcharge the battery. So, I don't know. Life is so much fun these days. And our Ford dealership, in their infinite wisdom, closed up shop here, so I would have to go to Williamsport, well, further than Williamsport, Muncie, in order to get it serviced there. So, yeah. Crazy, isn't it? But anyway, that fixed the problem. I'm just glad that I'm resourceful enough to go looking. All right. Some of the things that I've been working on, as you know, I've continued to work on the knit hat that I had started. And that is this. I think I'm probably 2 inches away from getting ready to finish that off. Maybe more, I don't know. Depending on the size, because, you have these lengths that are recommended, like, 7.5 to 8, 6.5 to 7, all this nonsense for head sizes. So, and I did put this on the wrong side. Stitch marker should have been over here. So let me transfer that over to this side. I've continued to work on this Afghan. I knew it would not be ready for the knit and run. So had added a new color, and that's kind of where I've gotten on that. For things that are finished, and I don't know if I had shown you this or not. I think I may have. I had a skirt that I had ordered from Temu, whatever it is, that was for the size I needed. But I would have to wear it up around my neck for the hem to be in the correct position. So basically what I did is I chopped off the top half of it and just put in the elastic down a little bit further. But I had all this excess material of it. So what I had done in the meantime, and I have this, I want to say it's 1 1/4 inch elastic that I just haven't found a use for. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to make a bangle, a bracelet with it. So I made a couple of those to go in the Operation Christmas Child. See? Great way to use your scraps. Okay? Now, I had told you the past couple of videos I've done sitting at the Addy and doing the hats. So I'm going to show you the hats I did get finished. And I had told you about putting them in bags. And I do put them in bags as I'm doing, and I have the age group for Operation Christmas Child. Now that is just something I do for me so that I have a clue as to what size they need to go in. So that when I take them in for the packing party that we're going to have, you know, they can be placed in the appropriate areas. I did get this hat, and it's the opposite on this side. This one, same way, pink, with that real pretty print. And then this one was using up some more of that pink, and a skein of this, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's a Karen Jumbo. That's what it came off of. So there's that. And then this one was using just some scraps that I had of different colors of blue. The inside, the opposite sides, just 2 color, whereas this side is 3 colors. So, well, 3 colors when you turn the brim up. I guess they're both 3 colors when you turn the brim up. All right, well, there's that, Jane. And I will tell you, when I get these bags out, I have to watch Ronan. He has this thing where he comes in, he licks, and I don't know if you can see that or not, where he has just chewed the bedevil out of this part. It's not going to clear. It's not going to clear. But he'll lick the bag and then he chomps on it. Cats and plastic. I don't know what it is with that. And then we have the age group of the 5 to 9. And I just got 2 hats done. Those 2 colors there. And here are the 2 colors that I used with this one. Now this hat, this bag is a little bit fuller because I did a lot of crocheting quite a few hats for Operation Christmas Child. And then we get down to the younger age group. And got 2 hats made this way. And this one is next to, I've always done the ones where you fold up the brim, but this one, these 2 do not have a folded brim. You could fold it up if the child's head is small enough, but these 2, I used, you know those cakes that I like to wind up with my scraps? I used those. So they're very different inside and out. This is another one that I had done with that. And then the inside is different as well. So these were kind of fun to make. And it's a good way to use up those scrap cakes that I have sitting over there, besides just doing them for Afghans. But while I was doing that, I realized I had seen someone do a crochet edge on it. Now I still haven't found that video, but while I was looking for that, I found that Yay for Yarn has one that is just a single layer of the knit fabric, and she uses a long tail cast on. So I am looking to try that and see how that goes, see what the hats look like, because these aren't always just going to go to cold areas. There are quite a few areas that are warm, and then when it gets a little cooler, like 80 degrees instead of 110, they want a little bit of a hat because they're cold. That boggles my mind. It really does. That 80 degrees is cold. But I guess if you're used to 110, 120 degree temperatures, probably is cold. So, which always amazes me because that just tells me that our bodies are very adaptive to weather and the changes that happen with weather regardless of where we live, you know. But anyway, Yay for Yarn has a couple of tutorials that I would like to try to check out those kind of things. But also I found a different chart for doing the rolled up brims and then those that are not rolled up brims. And I'm going to try to put a picture here. But, and I did find that it was shared by someone on Knitting Machine Queens on Facebook. It's one of the Facebook groups for knitting machines. And they have a plethora of patterns, ideas, tips, tricks. So if you're looking for those kind of things when it comes to using your Centro, Jamit, Addie's, whatever it is, that's a good group to go to, and they're very helpful if you have questions to answer pretty quickly. So, and I think that's a great chart to keep in mind, keep near the machine. And I try to do that so that I have an idea of different things. And many times I'll put them in some of the poly binders, you know, that you get, the small binders that a lot of kids take to school, not the paper. Generally I pick up the poly because I think they're going to last forever, and they probably will. But it's a great way to use up the plastics and those kind of things out of the environment instead of putting it right back into the ground. So, you know, don't shoot the messenger. There isn't a whole lot you can do. You just try to be a good steward as you can. All right, guys, are you ready for a little what in tarnation? You know, one thing a lot of people, this is a season of corn, and a lot of people are spending a lot of money for corn. Well, if you're in Colorado County, you probably heard about this and probably got you some of it. Colorado County offering free corn after highway crash. Colorado County is distributing free ears of corn to local residents after a semi-truck loaded up with the vegetables overturned on the highway and spilled its load. The Custer County Sheriff's Office said emergency crews were summoned to Highway 69's mile marker 69 just south of Hillside and north of Reed Road, just after 2 a.m. Thursday on a report of an overturned truck. The truck had spilled its load of sweet corn and many of the ears ended up littering the side of the roadway. Any undamaged corn from the crash was transported to the Wet Mountain Fire Protection District, where members of the public were invited to drop by and take some corn for free. Corn-seeking residents were asked to make sure not to block the fire station's driveway. That's a good idea. You should never block the fire station's driveways. Sheriff's Office said the roadway was completely cleared by 7 p.m. Thursday, but drivers are still urged to use caution in the area as corn remnants were likely to attract a higher than usual number of hungry deer to the highway. I'm sure it did. Will you leave my plastic bags alone, Ronan? Oh, kitties. Angler reels in first documented orange shark off Costa Rica. And a lot of there's a video that's attached, sort of, you know, in the link, Basically, it's just they'd made a reel of the pictures of this shark. It's rather interesting. It's an interesting color, I'm sorry. A man fishing in waters off the coast of Costa Rica reeled in an unusual catch, the first documented orange shark. Garvin Watson reeled in 6-foot, 6-inch nurse shark while casting his line near Tortuguera National Park in August 2024. Well, that was a year ago. Why is it making news today? Surely they had the wrong date. It was incredible, he told USA Today. We couldn't believe we had what we had in front of us. An orange shark that looked like an alien. Maybe the alien ship's already been here and dumped them. Oh, that's kind of scary. I need to pause you and change the battery. I'll be back in just a second. Researchers said the shark's bright orange coloring is caused by a condition called xanthism, which causes yellow or gold pigment in an animal's skin, scales, or fur. Scientists wrote in a report published this month in the journal Marine Biodiversity that Watson's nurse shark represents the first scientifically documented case of total xanthism in species and the first recorded from the Caribbean Sea. The researchers said the shark's white eyes indicate it also has a form of albinism, which involves a complete lack of pigment. How does that happen in a shark? You get two rare anomalies. Okay, interesting, right? And there's a lot of stories about animals. You know how it is this time of year. Sometimes you just gravitate to whatever you can find. Deer rescued after plunging into Michigan resident's pool. A crew of Michigan firefighters were summoned to a home Thursday morning to rescue a deer that had apparently been stuck in the swimming pool all night. I would imagine that was scary for the deer, and it was probably tired. The Lincoln Charter Township firefighters said on social media that rescuers were called out on a report of a deer in a pool early Thursday morning. Photos show the deer stuck in the water after apparently attempting to walk out onto the pool's soft cover and falling through. The deer was more than likely in the pool all night, the Post said. The deer was safely lifted up out of the water and released back into the wild. Now, Japan may have some wisdom here in what they are planning on doing. I'm just saying. Japanese city weighs limiting smartphone use to 2 hours per day. A Japanese city is considering a proposed ordinance that would limit residents to 2 hours of screen time outside of work or school. And let me butcher the next couple of names. Masafumi Koki, mayor of Toyaki in Aki Prefecture, announced the city's assembly will soon vote on a draft ordinance that would limit residents to 2 hours of time on smartphones, tablets, and computers outside of work and school obligations. The non-binding ordinance would also urge elementary school-age children to cut off screen time at 9 p.m. with a 10 p.m. suggestion for middle school and older children. Koki said the ordinance would not impose any monetary or criminal penalties for violations. Limiting daily smartphone use at 2 hours is just a guide, he said at a plenary meeting of the City Assembly Friday. The bill is aimed at promoting measures to prevent residents from suffering adverse effects on their bodies and daily lives from excessive smartphone use. You know, the neck issue, the eye issue, which now you get readers that have the blue screen because everything has, all that stuff that messes with our heads. A survey published in March by Japan's Children and Families Agency found young people in the country spend an average 5 hours on their phones, tablets, or computers per day during the week. I can imagine. I probably spend more than that. I generally have the computer or my iPad or phone propped up watching videos while I'm doing stuff. So, probably a good idea to get rid of the idle. All right, next story. Squirrel honored with Topps card after interrupting Yankees game. Now, the video that is linked is a little over 10 minutes, and it does show some of the baseball game going on, but it also shows that squirrel that was all over the field during that time. Sports card company Topps is releasing a collectible card featuring an unlikely baseball star, a squirrel, that ran onto the field during a New York Yankees game against the Boston Red Sox. The squirrel briefly stopped play during Friday's game when it ran out onto the field at Yankee Stadium during the top of the fourth inning and approached Yankees pitcher Max Fried on the mound. That's the first time that's happened to me, Fried told MLB.com. My first reaction was, don't do anything that might embarrass you. I thought it was just going to run around, but it came straight to me and went in the little hole I created on the mound. Video from the game shows Fried and the squirrel in a stare down, and it's cute. At one point, I think I just said, okay, buddy, let's go. He just did his thing. It's definitely a little strange, but it was all in good fun. Play resumed when the squirrel made its way to the foul zone, and the animal was last seen darting through the chain link fence in the scoreboard area. The animal failed to reach rally squirrel status as the Yankees went on to lose 1-0, but Topps revealed a new Topps Now card on Saturday, featuring photos of the squirrel. It's nuts. Furry friend takes mound at Yankee Stadium, the card reads. The card listed for $8.99 and was already sold out by Monday. And that was on the 25th. Already sold out. Wow. Just goes to show you people will buy anything. Animal control officers get stranded while rescuing baby geese. I think this is probably the funniest story I've read this week. I don't know, maybe not. Animal care officers attempting to rescue baby geese from the basin beneath a dam spillway ended up calling for backup from firefighters and police when they became stranded in the slippery situation. The City of San Antonio Animal Care Services said on social media that 2 officers were called to Woodland Lake, where a resident reported 5 baby geese trapped in the rocky basin beneath the spillway. The officers arrived to find the mother goose letting loose a string of angry honks. The little ones needed help, but she wasn't thrilled about the idea of strangers scooping up her little kids, the officials wrote. The officers used a rope to rappel down the embankment and gather the goslings into an animal carry. Unfortunately, algae-covered boots plus steep, slick walls equals 0 traction, and our officers found themselves trapped alongside the goslings. The officers called for backup from San Antonio Park Police and the San Antonio Fire Department. The new arrivals set up an extension ladder and helped our slightly soggy heroes climb to safety with the babies in tow. The goslings were reunited with their mother and were last seen heading out onto the lake. Large tegu lizard spotted wandering loose in Maine. Police in Maine are asking members of the public to report any sightings of a large tegu lizard spotted wandering loose in Old Town. The Old Town Police Department said on social media that the reptile, initially thought to be a monitor lizard, was last seen in the Hillside Avenue area Sunday evening. Tegus have sharp teeth and claws and strong jaws, the Post said. While not inherently aggressive, they can lash out if they feel threatened. Police asked anyone who spots the loose lizard to report its location to the department and not attempt to approach or capture it. The lizard's origins are unknown, and the police are asking for the animal's owner to contact the officers. Now, there is a big old debate that has so many vegetarians, vegans upset with RFK, and it's all around beans. Yep, you heard it. Beans, peas, corn, legumes. You know, pinto beans, black beans, lentils, peas. Cool beans? Not quite for RFK's plan for U.S. dietary guidelines. When Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. initially planned on releasing dietary guidelines for Americans, one of his focuses was supposed to elevate beans, lentils, and peas to proteins rather than vegetables in an effort to encourage plant-based protein sources. You see the conflict? Not yet? Okay. However, RFK has switched gears. Kennedy Jr. is likely to ditch the recommendation to encourage Americans to eat more beans, according to a report. This comes after he ghosted the Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee that drafts the DGA. No one will tell us the name of the person who's working on it, said Christopher Gardner, a member of DGAC. It's a black box. We have no idea. Beans were expected to be a crucial part of the guidelines after the DGAC's 2024 report concluded that Americans fall short on more than protein. And as the bean market rose by 30%, there might be a few people who are short on protein, Gardner added. And 3/4 of the population is short on fiber. When they go for meat, they're getting no fiber. So it's created quite a kerfluffle in the vegan-vegetarian community. And now there are many people that are just raising Cain over beans. But if you've ever been to any nutrition classes, many of the nutritionists, dietitians will teach you that beans are a protein. But they are not a complete protein by themselves. So that may be why they're not being elevated, to protein status, is because technically they are not a complete protein. I don't know. Who knows? But complete proteins contain all 9 essential amino acids that the human body cannot produce on its own. Beans are a good source of protein, but they are lacking in the amino acid methionine. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. To make beans a complete protein, they must be combined with other foods that are high in methionine, such as rice, wheat, corn, nuts, and seeds. This combination provides all the essential amino acids necessary for a complete protein. It's important to note that this combination is not necessary for everyone, as people who eat meat or dairy typically consume complete proteins. However, for vegans and vegetarians, it's a good way to ensure they are getting all the nutrients that they need. And there you have it. What in tarnation? Who knew that beans would be such a horrible, thing that would cause people to go nuts over? Oh, hang on. Let me pause you a moment while I find the devotion. I don't know about you, but this time of year I find odd. Like this morning, I'm up. It's cooler. I don't mind the coolness, except it was a little too chilly, so I had to put on a sweater. And sometimes that just doesn't work out well. You know what I mean? All right. Our devotional comes from with God, I always have hope. And isn't that absolutely true? Okay, stepping into miracles. And Peter answered him, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. Matthew 14:28. Walking on water defies all the laws of nature, yet Jesus empowered Peter to do it. God wants you to walk on water too. We can do everything God commands us to do, but faith and hope are prerequisites for this water walking experiences. Doubt and fear hinder us from walking on water. What could we really do if we turned a blind eye and a deaf ear to doubt and fear? There were others in the boat with Peter, but only Peter walked on the water. How many opportunities do we miss out on due to our fear? Remaining content with watching others do what God commanded. God wants people who are full of faith and hope to accomplish great things for Him. We can do everything our Lord commands us to do if our eyes are fixed on Him, rather than on the raging winds, the blazing inferno, or anything else that beckons us to take our eyes off of God. Answer Jesus' call and step into the miracles that are right in front of you. Keep your eyes on Him and you will walk on water. Reflect. What water walking steps is God beckoning me to take? Pray. Father God, I thank you for faith to walk on water. I thank you that I can do everything you command me to do through the power of the Spirit. Thank you for the miracles that await my obedience. Thank you for reminders that you want me to follow your leading. Father, may I not be hindered by fear and doubt. They are powerless over me. Declare, I can do everything God commands me to do. That one you might need to declare a couple of times. I can do everything God commands me to do. Act. Take one step out upon the waters that you have been putting off out of fear. That's a big step. Do it. See how things change in your life. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. I know it's been choppy here and there, lots of stops and starts, but I hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you around for the opinion show. I know a lot of people do not agree with that kind of thing on this channel, but this channel is about things that I find interesting and that I like to talk about. And I welcome your opinions, your thoughts on those things, even if they differ from mine. It's okay. We all have opinions. So let's just be kind to one another and not be ugly about it. All right, guys, I'll see you again soon. Bye.